They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the Outlet Pass Podcast. I am your resident JT McConnell, the homie's homie. More importantly, my real name, Justin DiVirgilio. And back on the episode this week, it's episode 32, is my friend and fellow Sixer Sense writer, Joey DiProsperos. What's up, Joey? How you doing this morning?
My guy. What it do, baby?
Oh, wow, really?
I had to do it, man. I had to do it.
You upset me. So let me cheer myself up real quick. And before we get into any type of talk, let me remind everybody where they can follow me, the podcast, and listen to it. You can follow me at _JDVirgilio on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at the Outlet Pass Podcast and on Twitter at @pass_podcast, as well as listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe, rate it 5 stars, like it, share it, tell a friend to tell a friend, comment, whatever you got to do to get more eyes on this podcast for us as we like to put out this content for you guys. We were having a conversation before we started recording, and I was telling Joey about how I subscribed to The Athletic recently, and I've been enjoying my subscription wholeheartedly, and I was trying to talk him into it, but his wallet is not talking. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm just a broke college student at the moment, so obviously whenever money is involved, I'm hesitant about it. But I think you convinced me pretty well that I should hit that subscription button.
Dude, it's the best. You can access it, and especially when it's on your phone, and then you follow writers and you follow teams, and they give me notifications of when somebody drops a story. So it's been really helpful, and it's pretty. The app is easy to maneuver around. They have podcasts as well. It's just really dope that they decided to gather up all the dopest writers for each area's teams and national ones and put them all in one place. And if you really wanted to read good sports writing and a different take than watching ESPN or reading Bleacher Report or, those are the two, then you go to The Athletic, which I believe if you really love sports and you love reading about them, I think you should. But I am also an aspiring writer, so I'm kind of biased. You there?
Oh no, yeah. No, yeah. We're definitely a little bit of bias there, being that we're into the writing. So yeah, if you want quality, high quality, in-depth basketball talk, definitely subscribe to The Athletic.
And it's not even. This isn't an ad. We were just talking about it. I wish I was getting an ad money from The Athletic. I know. If The Athletic wants to sponsor, if you're listening to this, holler at my boy. Yeah, I plugged my names at the beginning. You can rewind it. Now let's get into some basketball talk, because while last night, especially in a time like now, it's August 4th, 3rd, whatever day it is, 22nd. I don't know. So,
22nd, yeah.
There's not a lot to talk about. People are just gearing up for the season. And at 9 o'clock-ish last night, I believe, Ben Simmons' jump shot video dropped again. I guess we can only record when Ben Simmons' jump shot videos come out, Joey. I don't understand.
That seems to be the trend right now.
I don't know. I'm not pessimistic. It's just, at this point, there were a couple different shots that he took. But at this point, I just want to see it in a Sixers uniform. I am glad. I think that's the term I'll use. I'm glad he's taking them. I'm not happy. I'm not excited. I'm not overzealous. I'm just glad. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not too high, too low.
We talked about it on the last time we did one. You know, again, take it with a grain of salt for sure. It remains to be seen if it's going to translate into a game. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting excited about it. He's taking these shots. He seems confident in his shooting mechanics. Make them what you will. But it's certainly it makes you happy that he's at least feeling good about just taking them in general. And again, nothing wrong with being excited about them.
Yeah, you're right. The form does look better. He doesn't look as awkward, even though he does use his right hand to go up. He uses his right hand more than a left-handed player should or would. So it's still that theory that he could switch at one point is still in the back of my mind. And his first playoff run, I have some stats where he took more jumpers than last. Okay, so how Ben Simmons shot in the playoffs, excluding two-handed attempts. Left hand, 5 of 11. Right hand, 52 of 88. That's not a good disparity there. That's where I just scratch my head about it. I don't understand.
It's confusing, but I think at this point he seems pretty stone set on sticking with that left hand and working on his left-handed shot. I just think it's too late at this point to think that he's going to fully switch over to being a right-handed shooter.
You're probably right, to be honest. I don't think we need any jump shot coach controversies anymore in the city to change somebody's jump shot so drastically. So, for the safe side, I will agree with you, and I don't need to hear people on sports radio or the local writers freaking out that somebody's jump shot is now again broken. That's just not not the type of content I live for. You know?
I'm done with jump shot talk for a solid at least. No, I'm done with it the rest of my life, honestly. No more.
Jump shot, you can't have a jump shot conversation while talking about basketball. It's a fact.
Especially when you're talking about the Sixers.
Oh, yeah. Can't do it. Well, that kind of broke the internet, I guess. I don't know. Every time Ben Simmons shoots jump shots in a gym, in a pickup game, it's always taken a little too serious. But whatever. Let's get to the NBA schedule that released in between episodes. We can start with the tip-off nights for the whole league. So there's 4 different tip-off nights it's being marketed as. Tuesday, October 22nd, the Pelicans at the Raptors at 8 p.m., Lakers at Clippers, 10:30 p.m. How you feel about the first Tuesday night matchup?
Feel good. I feel good. Looking for this schedule right now. How you feeling?
Do the Pelicans deserve an opening night slot? I know the talent's there. I know it's fun. I know that their no cash cow, their baby cash cow, finally is going to debut in the league, but really? I don't know.
I mean, it was going to happen. Zion has too much hype around him to not get the Pelicans the first game on opening night. It's what everybody wanted.
Don't speak for me. Because
I'm trying.
Because I'm probably more excited to see Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jackson Hayes run pick and roll than Zion play.
Oh
That's
my
just
God.
me. No, I'm
excited
serious.
about them too. No, I'm excited to see all of them too. Jackson Hayes was absolutely electric in summer league. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was as well. They're a fringe playoff team, man, this year.
No, I can see it because they have a lot of young talent. JJ Redick's going to add some valued spacing. The Pelicans are going to be a fun watch. So I guess I can understand why they're there. I just don't want them there the first night. But whatever, because they're basically the only non-playoff team on the opening nights. The Lakers-Clippers game, that's a given. That's going to be fun. Wednesday, October 23rd, Celtics at our Philadelphia 76ers, 7:30 p.m. And then the Denver Nuggets at the Portland Trailblazers, 10 p.m., a rematch of the second round last year. Which game, excluding bias, or try to, which game is more intriguing on this Wednesday night?
It's tough. Obviously, the Denver-Portland game is going to be a pretty good one to watch, being that it is a rematch of that exciting 7-game second-round series last year. But I'm going to go with my bias on this one and say Celtics-Sixers, because it's Celtics-Sixers. It's that rivalry. And plus, the Sixers finally opened the season at home for the first time in I don't even know how many years. But you have to go with Sixers-Celtics. I mean, am I wrong for doing that, or?
No, you're not. You're not. It's okay. We can be biased right there. Now, let's move to Thursday. Thursday, October 24th, Milwaukee Bucks at the Houston Rockets, 8 p.m. Then the LA Clippers at the Golden State Warriors, 10:30 p.m. I don't know which one grabs my eye more. I'm kind of interested to see the Rockets play the Bucks. New team, even though you can say the same thing for the Clippers-Warriors game. The Warriors are underdog-ish, no Clay, D'Angelo Russell. I don't know, man. I would love to see Rockets-Warriors instead and just flip the matchups. But we didn't get that. How do you feel?
I think we're going to talk about it later, about the Warriors being an underdog. I'm just really excited to see what they're going to be bringing this year. I mean, Steph is finally going to be pretty much the go-to guy, and I think he's going to have a huge year this year. But, I mean, it's a 10:30 game, but I'll be looking at that. Bucks Rockets, it's Giannis versus Russ and Harden, and yeah, probably Clippers Warriors that night.
Oh, so you'll exclude the beginning game? Maybe, yeah, you might have some homework. So then you get it before, you do your shit, then you watch the late game. I can understand it.
I'm a night guy now, being out in college, so I'll be up for that game.
I've always been a night guy. I love the West Coast games. That's why I love when the Sixers go out west, because it's like, what is there to watch? My guys are on. I can watch them till 1 a.m.
Exactly.
So let's move on to Friday, October 25th. The Dallas Mavericks at the New Orleans Pelicans, 8 p.m. And then the Utah Jazz at the LA Lakers, 10:30 p.m. Now, honestly, this is the only game that the Pelicans should have been on. I don't know why they gave them the Raptors on Tuesday, but I'm actually fine with this game because I think it's going to be fun pick and roll matchup. It's going to be a fast-paced game, and who knows how many people in New Orleans are going to show out for one of their first home games. And then the Jazz and Lakers. The Lakers, I mean, obviously it's early, but they could lose that game. They could lose to the Jazz this year multiple times because of the Jazz's guard play. So I'm interested to see how the Jazz build off last year with adding Mike Conley, with Donovan Mitchell, how he's going to evolve, and obviously see what the Lakers drama show is like. See if everybody has their roles and their lines right and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. How you feel?
Yeah, Mavs Pelicans is going to be that's a good game to watch. Obviously, Luka versus Zion. That's going to be the headliner right there.
Real quick, since you mentioned that, how many possessions are they going to get one-on-one against each other? Just predict. Grab something out of thin air. I'm going to go with like 3. I don't think they're going to want to put Luka on them, and vice versa.
I was thinking 2 or 3. And then Jazz Lakers. Quick side note: Jazz. Underrated or overrated offseason?
Because a lot of people have been piping up the Jazz. You've been listening and reading to The Ringer, haven't you?
Yes.
Because a lot of guys over there like the Jazz offseason. I don't know, it might be properly rated. Because the whole West is open. And with that in mind, the Jazz have been a 4 seed, right? Or a 5 seed? And you're only a couple games out. They've been around there.
Yeah, they've been a 4 or 5 seed. But the thing that they were missing in the playoffs was offensive firepower. They kind of just the offense just went dead. against the Rockets. But adding Bojan Bogdanovic, who I'm not that high on, but he definitely provides some
I like
some
him.
more. I like him too. Definitely provides some instant offense. Obviously, Mike Conley was their best acquisition this summer. I think he's really going to take some of the pressure off of Donovan Mitchell, who we have our own feelings about. And they're still going to be a top 5 team in the West. And like you said, the West is so up for grabs this year that there's always a chance that they make a run.
Yeah, I can see. And also they added Jeff Green for defense. So you need at least 9 guys to be sure about in the playoffs. So I think they filled out the roster well, but finding out how what's their coach's name is slipping my mind right now. Not
Quinn
Terry,
Snyder.
Quinn Snyder. I was going to say Jerry Sloan, but he was the coach like 8 years ago. And
Quinn Snyder
Quinn
Snyder looks like tax evasion.
He looks like the dude who played in White Collar.
The tax evasion joke wasn't mine, but I heard that and I thought it was so accurate.
Oh, my joke was off the cuff.
But yeah. Oh, and they added Ed Davis too, which was a very underrated
To replace
pickup.
Derek Favors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, the Jazz, I think they're properly rated. Now let's go to Christmas Day. Let's run through these real quick. Boston at Toronto, 12 p.m. That's a cool game. That's fine. Raptors hosting Christmas Day for the first time, which is a milestone. Milwaukee at the Sixers, 2:30. Sixers last hosted a Christmas game in 88. Are you heading to the game? Are you going to be home for that?
Oh, you bet I'm going to be at that game. I will be bringing a flask with eggnog in it, and guaranteed, if they're not selling eggnog there. But I will for sure be at that game.
Do you mind sitting 200 level for basketball?
It's so worth it.
I don't know, dude. I'm probably not going to go to any games where I don't sit 100 level or 200 level center court. Just because you can't see, it's not the best view compared to my house.
I don't care. I just want to be there. I want to be at that Christmas Day game. That is all I want for Christmas is the Sixers.
Okay. Now, Houston
Shout
at
out
Golden
Mariah Carey.
State. Oh, yeah. Of course. That's going to be playing from after once Halloween's done, November 1st, 12:01, people are going to be playing that song.
Oh, for sure.
Worst thing ever. But let's get back to basketball. Houston at Golden State, another rematch of the rivals at 5 p.m. The LA Showdown, Clippers at Lakers. I mean, it doesn't really matter who's at where. They're both home. The Lakers have won a record 23 games on Christmas, but they play every Christmas, so like they're the Yankees of basketball in Christmas days. And then here it is again, the team I have a gripe with getting these primetime games. The Pelicans at the Nuggets, 10:30, and the Nuggets' last Christmas home game was 25 years ago. It's a good lineup. I think you could probably take out, I guess, New Orleans or Boston. But, that's just my opinion. I think you could add maybe Dallas in there. You could give Portland some respect and put them on Christmas. Like, God damn.
Portland would have been a great Christmas game.
But
dude, put the Portland-Denver game on Christmas.
That's what I said that the other day. And they gave you one of the NBA's most memorable moments from last year. Like, Boston hasn't done squat for you guys recently, besides a bunch of controversy regarding their point guard, which won't happen anymore because Kemba Walker doesn't toe that line. So they got to be happy about that. You want to move on to Martin Luther King Day?
Oh, no, real quick. Shout out to Disney on Ice for not screwing over the Sixers again this year for Christmas.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much on Walt Disney or whatever heir to the throne is running it now. Whoever, I don't know who runs it. Oh, real quick, Walt Disney. Before we get to MLK Day, how was the NBA experience?
It was awesome. If you're an NBA fan and you're in Disney, pay the money to get tickets to that thing. It's so worth it. It's so much fun.
Explain to the people what the NBA experience is.
So it's so many things. So you walk in. First of all, the opening ceremony was pretty awesome. I didn't realize how big it was going to be we kind of just showed up in the morning because they're having the opening ceremony for it. And I get there, and I'm sort of off to the side of where the stage is. I look over, Adam Silver is right there, and then I realized, okay, yeah, this is pretty big. And then I realized Rachel Nichols is hosting the whole ceremony, and then they had Udonis Haslem, Victor Oladipo, Aaron Gordon, D Wade, Rob, who was it? I'm drawing a blank here. But
another NBA personality or player.
Yeah, and then Kareem comes out. So
really,
they really made a big show of this in the morning. But guests couldn't go in until 4 in the afternoon, so we had to go back at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon to go actually check this place out. So first floor is kind of, they have a locker room area where you can watch highlights of different players and all that. They have this photo shoot set up where you can take a picture with a fake trophy and stuff like that. But the real fun is when you go to the second floor and they have all these different mini games that you can do. You know, dribbling games. They have this dunking area where you can set the height of the net so you can throw down slams. There is video of me dunking that will never be released on the internet.
You gotta send me that.
Because, well, I have no hops. So that's all you need to know. They have a bunch of Pop-A-Shot machines off to the side. They have this slingshot game where you have this big slingshot and you have basically dodgeballs. You try to slingshot it into the net. And then they have this game called Beat the Buzzer where you have to take a shot from the top of the key, a layup from the right side, a layup from the left side, a shot from the baseline, and then a shot from the other elbow and you have to do that within 15 seconds. But it is
15
awesome.
Seconds? Wait.
Oh yeah, 15. Yeah, it's called Beat the Buzzer.
I don't even think NBA players could do that.
I think it's more than 15 seconds, but you have a specific amount of time that you have to do it within.
All right.
If NBA fans, if you're in the area and you're in Disney, pay the money. It's worth it.
Okay. I think, is that going to help out the Magic at all? Because
I don't know. It's a league kind of deal.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, if there's the NBA experience in Disney, I feel like it is kind of favoritism, but you put it in Orlando, and there's a team in Orlando, so I feel like you should recognize the Magic in some way to get people to Magic games, if you would like to, as a business. Am I making sense?
No, you're making sense. It's a league experience more than anything. That's what it was all about. They just wanted to make it a league sort of experience.
Fair enough. Now, let's get back to MLK Day.
Wait, quick thing. I told you about this, actually. So I'm in line for the slingshot game.
Oh, yeah.
And me and my folks are getting ready to go on. We're literally next up. And the guy who was working it comes over and he goes, we have a family coming in with VIP passes. We got you next game. And we're like, what? Who gets to cut us in line? And I look over, and it's a dude and his wife and I guess a bunch of his kids. I'm looking at him closely, and I go, "Is that Quentin Richardson?" and it was Q Rich. Q Rich cut me in line in Disney.
Did he hear you when you said that and then looked over?
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to disrupt him. He was with his kids.
No, I meant, did you say, is that Quentin Richardson, out loud enough?
Oh, no, I said it to myself, and I whispered to my mom, like, yeah, it's Quentin Richardson. She had no idea who he was, but...
Did your dad know?
He kind of knew.
Okay, so that's a borderline no. I'm going to go with that. I know how that goes.
Shout out to Q Rich, man. I forgive you.
Shout out to Q Rich. Fan of the knuckleheads here. Now, the MLK Day. We have the Raptors at the Hawks at 2:30. Then we have the Pelicans at the Grizzlies. I'm actually fine with that game, even though the Pelicans are involved. We have the Lakers at the Celtics. Of course, we're going to have a primetime Lakers-Celtics matchup. And then we have the Warriors at the Blazers at 10 o'clock. How do you feel about these games?
They're fine matchups. You have to get that Lakers Celtics in, obviously, because that's That's the league just going to that rivalry on that day. I love that Warriors Trailblazers matchup. That is going to be the game that everyone is going to want to watch, if you ask me.
I feel like the Atlanta Hawks should have got. I would love them as a dark horse on Christmas. It would have been fun to have them on Christmas. I feel like they should document this season more on national TV for the Hawks because I'm comparing them to the Nets of last year. I feel like they're going to be like that. That's personally how I feel. This could change by October, could change by November, but that's how I feel currently today. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
They're one of my top 3 league pass teams this year, easily. And I'm not the only one that believes that. They're going to be such an exciting team this year.
How much is league pass? Because I'm going to get it this year.
It's not terrible. I mean, you obviously have to pay up a little bit there.
That's fine. I just want to know the price.
But if you just want to watch a lot of games over the course of the year and see a lot of different teams, I think it's definitely worth the money.
You didn't answer my question. How much money is it?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Would you say 15? Is it similar to a Netflix subscription?
Let me look it up right now.
Well, while he's looking it up,
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, while he's looking it up, I just have a couple more facts about the schedule this season. The NBA Saturday primetime games tip off on January 18th. It starts with the Lakers against the Rockets. Then the NBA Sunday Showcase games tip off on February 2nd with the Pelicans against the Rockets. I mean, that's fine. Now, for the third straight season, no team has a stretch of 4 games in 5 days. I used to enjoy those stretches as a fan. But for the sake of health of players, that's okay, especially with someone on the Sixers, someone as fragile as Joel Embiid, and some couple older guys, Al Horford, who else? Kylo Quinn, Mike Scott, got some veterans that value their off days, I'm sure. And then the last fact is that teams will play an average of 4 back-to-back games this season. So that is averaged amongst the entire league, as opposed to our Sixers who have 11 back-to-backs, which is, I mean, it's fine. I love back-to-back games. Now, do we have the league pass price?
Yes. So yearly for one team is $120 a year.
Oh, wow. I was way off.
Yeah. No, it gets worse. So if you want all teams, $200 a year. And that's the plan that I have. So you figure $200 a year, 12, that's like 10, like 15, $20 a month. And but then they have premium. And not only do you get all the teams, but you also get the full in-arena stream.
What's that mean?
Yeah. So you get, I'm trying to remember it through right now. Like you get the in-arena stream and you get no commercials.
All right. No commercials is clutch.
Hold your breath. That's $250 a year.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the $200. That's fine with me.
That's the perfect plan to have.
Yeah, you're right. Let's get into the Sixers schedule now. So
yeah, let's do it.
We have 5 preseason games this season, and we start with a Chinese team coming to us this time, which is cool. Preseason, I watch it, of course. A grain of salt as well with that. And there's a few key dates, and then there's a couple key stretches that we want to talk about. So I have 4 key dates. Jimmy Butler returns to Philly November 23rd. Are you going to be in the building that day, or are you going to be at school?
Give me a second. I will be at school.
That's great audio, by the way, just saying into the microphone. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I will be at school for that game.
Okay. TJ McConnell returns to Philly November 30th. School?
School.
Okay. JJ Redick returns December 13th. School?
School.
Okay. Markelle Fultz, possible return to Philly April 5th. School?
School.
All right. Now, just asking what you were doing. You'll probably be watching the games if you have time. I'm sure you'll make time. And
Oh no, I never miss a game.
so let's rank the ones that we're most excited to see. Who are you most excited to see? I'll do mine first. So I go T.J. McConnell first. I go Jimmy Butler second. J.J. Redick third. Markelle Fultz fourth.
Yeah, I think I would go. Yeah, TJ first. Actually, literally the same ranking as you. TJ, Jimmy, JJ, and then Fultz if he even plays this year.
Yeah, that's why I said possible. Because who knows? Who knows with that guy? You think who's gonna get? You think Jimmy's gonna get booed? Like when he gets introduced? Well,
He's
no,
gonna get booed.
They always get booed.
He'll get booed, but this is the only time I'll have mixed emotions about booing a guy, because while he rightfully should be booed, he did sort of lead us through the playoffs. So you have to give him that.
And him leaving also, it's not like we didn't benefit from his leaving either. He did help us out, as opposed to someone like JJ who just left and we had to find a shooter, or TJ who left and we had to find a point guard. You know?
Yeah, he'll get booed because Philly, but
Well, he's just controversial.
it's just us being fans if we're booing him.
That's true. I mean, I think when they introduce him in the game during it, I think there'll be like a little ovation out of respect, and then after that, it's competition. But not when they say 6'7" forward or guard from Marquette University, number 23, Jimmy Butler, and then they go sucks. So
yeah, we're not gonna be throwing batters at him or anything.
that's still crazy. Let's talk about the most important stretch of the season. To me, I wrote an article on the SixerSense.com, 10-game stint that could formulate expectations for the 2020 playoffs. Go check out my writing over there at the Sixer Sense, as long as my guy Joey's and the rest of the team. Everybody's been putting in work this summer, and the season is just going to be the same thing tenfold. Now, the 10-game stretch begins on the 25th of January. So it goes, it starts against the Raptors, I believe. Yeah, I'm right. I'm wrong. So
Actually, you could start it with the Brooklyn game on MLK Day.
Okay, yeah, so 11 games. My article is 10, but this one is 11 for the sake of Joey bringing it up. So there is more away games, I believe, than home, or it's the same amount. No, there's more. There's just one more. It's the Nets, then the Raptors away, then home against the Lakers and Warriors, away against the Hawks, Celtics, Heat, Bucks, and then home against the Grizzlies, Bulls, and Clippers. So just minus out the Grizzlies and Bulls games, you have a bunch of playoff teams playing the Sixers right before the All-Star break, which I like.
Yeah, and I've been looking at that stretch too. You wrote your story on it, and I've been looking at it too. But I specifically have it January 20th to February 6th specifically, because the Memphis and Chicago games in between kind of ruined that stretch. But specifically the 20th to the 6th, 5 of those 8 games are going to be on either ESPN, ABC, or TNT. And they only have 2 home games in that stretch, and they're against the Lakers and the Warriors. And that is going to be probably the biggest test of the season, because if you take the whole schedule into account, there really aren't a whole lot of gauntlet or easy stretches of the season. And that's the only area of the schedule that you can point out and say, all right, that's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And let's move on to a tough stretch of the season as well, when they make the West Coast trip, because these specific stints are that's why I had the concept of the article, because if you wanted to watch the Sixers season in a little scope in time and be like, okay, I can tune back in April if that's how you watch as a fan. It's not how I am, but you can have a certain expectation and knowledge of what they could do or what they will do in the playoffs. So the West Coast trip is actually later, I feel like, than it's ever been for the Sixers. They never go out west for a week in March. So it goes Clippers, Lakers, Kings, Warriors. It's tough. Very tough.
No, that's a tough stretch, and Sacramento is not a pushover anymore, so that is going to be another tough game. They gave us some problems last year with that fast-paced style. I think Buddy Hield lit them up pretty good last year. So 3 of those 4 games are going to be on either ABC or TNT. Do you know if that Sacramento game is going to be on NBA TV?
No, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised though.
It would be a good NBA TV game.
I'll look right now because the Sixers did lose on NBA TV to the Kings last year actually when they blew that lead in the fourth quarter. Currently looking, gotta scroll all the way down. March, correct? It's the first week in March.
Mm-hmm.
March. Now it doesn't let me scroll. It's great on-air content right here. No, it's not a nationally televised game.
It should be.
It could get flexed. You know how that goes.
That would be such a great game for NBA TV, for sure.
Now let's all the games are going to be pretty entertaining. The season ends April 15th, and you had a specific day in April that could be could be key in the Eastern Conference playoff race.
So, I'm looking at the April 7th game against Milwaukee at home on TNT. So let me ask you this before I get into my spiel. Do you believe that Milwaukee will ultimately be the number 1 seed in the East this year?
No. I think they lost too much. They lost Brogdon and someone else I'm forgetting right now. They lost Mirotic. That's who else they lost. I think that's too big of a hole.
I'm borderline in the field that Milwaukee will probably be the better regular season team and end up with the number 1 seed just because of a lot of different factors against the Sixers. But that's just my belief at this point. I really hope I'm totally wrong. But if it ends up being a neck and neck battle for the number 1 seed in the East, this game on April 7th could literally determine who ends up with the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, because that is literally game number 79 or 8. And then after that, it's pretty much steady cruising for the rest of the year. So if that's one game that you should really be looking out for.
Yeah, I'll definitely be paying attention. That's the last meeting between the two teams. Yeah, it could determine what happens, and obviously that'll be a big storyline, and we'll be watching how much you just want home court throughout the entire playoffs. That's why it's so big, because the Sixers are a really good home team, and it's just better to have home court. That's just the bottom line. Let's move on.
Well, yeah, everyone wants home court.
Yeah. Let's move on to DeMarcus Cousins and, sadly, his bad luck with his lower body. He has an ACL injury. He tore it in a pickup game in Vegas, working out, just getting through a run, doing it on a layup, I believe. And, man, it's sad. My first thought is that it's going to be hard for it to come back from this injury, especially if you came back twice. I think he could be very well on his way out of the league. And it's sad.
It's devastating. My heart just aches for that dude, man. He has the worst luck of anyone I've ever seen in my life. You know, when you're a basketball player, there are 3 injuries that you hope you never have to endure: a torn Achilles, torn ACL, and a torn quad. And they've either derailed the careers of countless players, or they've at least seriously hurt their ability or their physical abilities. We'll get into a bigger discussion, but guys off the top, Wesley Matthews, still productive, but he had that Achilles tear, and he really hasn't been the same type of player that he was before. EB, Elton Brand in 2007, right before he came over here, tore his Achilles and lost his explosiveness, which he admitted in an interview. And then obviously you have D Rose, and we could go on for days about that. Those are the three injuries that you never want to have. Boogie has had them within a year. He's had the three injuries you never want to have as a basketball player. His career is really in jeopardy right now, man. And it wasn't long ago that we were talking about him being probably the best big in the league and the most talented player in the league. It's devastating.
He's lost $100 million plus because of these injuries. That's just unfathomable.
When that Achilles tear happened, he was well on his way to being a max player that summer.
Yeah, that was the big issue in New Orleans. They were going to try and keep both of them, and obviously we never crossed that bridge because of the injury. Now, you mentioned players that to come back from major knee injuries. I have Al Harrington. If we don't remember who Al Harrington is, he played on the Pacers for a while, I believe, and the Jazz. Al Jefferson also played for the Jazz. Baron Davis, David West, Jamal Crawford, who's still kicking in the league, Kyle Lowry, and Ricky Rubio. So all these guys still became formidable players, but I don't know. I think DeMarcus Cousins is too heavy at this point, and the game is too quick, where he could get a certain injury again, or just have a nagging type of injury. So I don't know, man. Hopefully he saved his money.
It's a few things at play, because when you have a devastating injury like that, first of all, I mean, anyone can say that, no, I don't think about it when I'm playing or when I jump or when I accelerate off my feet. They can say that, but it's in the back of your head every single time you go up for a rebound or you're on the break going up for a dunk. The idea that it can happen to you again is you're always thinking about that whenever you're making a play, and it just makes you feel uncomfortable. And then the other aspect of it, especially with Boogie, for any team that is considering picking him up, there's always the risk that it could happen again. So he's in such a tough place right now.
Wouldn't the thought of playing with a safety net, of just playing too safe, of thinking you could get hurt again, wouldn't that take the fun and the love out of the game? Like at that point, if I played with that mentality for 3 months of the NBA season, I would just think at some point in January in my head, I wouldn't say this to anybody, but I'm done after this year. I can't play with this anymore. It's not fun. It makes my life worse as it used to make it better. Like, I would be done if that was my mentality with those injuries.
You're constantly thinking about it. It's always in the back. It's always a possibility now that you're considered a risk for a major injury, and it takes away from your production. And like you said, it makes it less fun.
Yeah, totally. Let's move on to the Lakers working out centers, because DeMarcus Cousins was supposed to be a bench piece, he's supposed to start, and that would allow JaVale McGee to be the backup center. But now the Lakers need to find a new person to fill that role. Dwight Howard is the first option. He is the best option statistically out of the other two. He's only played 9 games last year because he had glute surgery. That's odd. I never heard of that.
That was a meme for a little while there.
Well, along with the one story that came out about how he likes both ways, or I don't know. I don't know if you remember.
2019. We're not judging here.
No, I just said what the story was. I said I don't know afterwards either. I mean, too. But, all right. Damn. Now, he averaged a double-double in Charlotte the year before. The only thing with Dwight Howard is that he had a run with the Lakers, and it was kind of toxic, as he's basically been his whole career. That's why he's bounced around so much since the Magic. I mean, he is the best basketball option, though. So I don't know how you feel about Dwight Howard.
I mean, I still believe he could contribute. Literally last March, he had a 32-point, 30-rebound game. So he clearly has something still in him. He's still a very good defender. He can still rebound. He can contribute at least something still. A quick little side tangent. I feel so bad for him because recency bias has done him so dirty. He literally is he was one of the most dominant players back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and now his seemingly inability to land a rock solid role in a team has really done him so dirty for his legacy.
It's his fault.
But yeah, partly, but I still believe he can contribute, and obviously the Lakers are going to be looking at other options. Joakim Noah, who also can probably still make meaningful contributions. I mean, he had a pretty good showing with Memphis this past year, but it was Memphis, so that remains to be seen. And the other guy I saw that they're going to be looking at is Maurice Spates, I believe. Yep. So they're really going to have to go to the fringes of the league to try to fill that hole at center.
I think that Maurice Spates is actually the best option, even though Dwight Howard can produce a 30-30 game. I don't know if he would do that in the Lakers per se, but he can produce something very valuable on certain nights. With Dwight Howard's difficulty to be played with, his kind of injury history, just some baggage. Then Joakim Noah, similar idea. He's trying to make it back up, but he played good on a bad team. He only played 80 games in the season twice, as opposed to Maurice Spates, who has never played fewer than 52 games in a season, except he didn't play in the league last year, and he's a career 36% three-point shooter, which the Lakers could use a stretch big off the bench. So that's what makes his case better than the two guys we mentioned. That's just my opinion. I do think Maurice Spates will be the one signed by the Lakers.
Yes, he would be the correct signing. But whether or not the Lakers actually make the correct signing is going to remain to be seen.
You're absolutely right. And something that we haven't seen in a while is an underdog Golden State Warriors team. But they are now, in fact, an underdog. Draymond Green sat down with Rachel Nichols about a week ago, and they talked about a varying amount of things. His $100 million extension, Kevin Durant leaving, and his tenure there, as well as the underdog role. So the biggest thing I actually took from this interview is that Draymond Green, I like him. When he spoke and he had similar thoughts to me. Maybe that's why I liked him, because he said about Kevin Durant, he said he doesn't owe it to me to tell me where he's leaving or where he's going. I found out when everyone else did. I just really agree with that, because at the end of the day, they can do what they want. And he said he's still his brother, so it's fine. I don't know if you have a newfound perspective on Draymond Green after watching this short sit down.
No, he's a good guy, and I think his on the court antics make people draw different conclusions about who he is as a person. But my whole thing on Draymond is he's always going to be as polarizing a player as there is in the NBA and to a lot of NBA fans. You either love him or you hate him, and it's understandable why you might want to hate the guy. He can be extra, out of pocket, whatever, on the court. And are those outbursts irritating at times? Absolutely. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But that's what makes Draymond Draymond. And when he is on his game, he is one of the most dynamic, impactful players of this generation. And he played a role in revolutionizing the modern NBA. He's a champion. And he's well deserving of that $100 million contract that he got this summer.
Now, another thing that he said that really, I just liked the way he said it. is that he liked that he proved a bunch of people wrong. You said I wasn't supposed to be here, and now I signed my $100 million extension. Like, that is surreal, obviously, to him, to hear a bunch of noise and a bunch of doubters, and then your organization putting the stamp on you that they ultimately did believe in you 100% when they told you, when they drafted you and throughout your years playing there, to give you that big contract, had to be a great feeling. And the last thing is the underdog role. That people are saying they're not going to make the playoffs, which I can't understand it. Can you help me understand that concept of the Warriors not making the playoffs?
They're going to make the playoffs. I think people are going to too big of that's too much of an extreme to say that they're not going to make the playoffs. But thinking of the Warriors as underdogs is pretty foreign to me. They've been the crown jewel of the league for 5+ years now. This is really the first time in the Steve Kerr era where we're looking at them as like an underdog. But that is such a stretch to say that they're not going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be a very, very good team, even in the West. I said it earlier in the pod. Steph, I'm predicting a huge year for Steph. I think he's going to post some pretty gaudy MVP type numbers this season. And I'm really interested to see the Steph D'Angelo Russell pairing, how that works out. D'Angelo is another on-ball option for Steve Kerr to work with. And when Clay comes back, if he comes back at this point in the season, I don't think it's going to spell the end of D'Angelo and Golden State. You could easily just slot Clay into the 3 and keep D'Angelo at the 2. And then they added Willie Cauley-Stein, who another rim running big that they can work with. I also love them picking up Eric Pascal in the draft. That's a underrated selection. I still see them as probably a 5 or 6 seed in the West, right behind Houston or Utah. And I'll say this too. They're going to be a team that you absolutely do not want to face in the first round if you're a top 3 or 4 seed. So with all that being said, a lot of people are saying that the dynasty is finally dead, but I'm not ready to completely say that. I think at the very least it's been put on hold for a year.
Like Draymond said, people think that this thing is over. That's not smart. It's not smart at all. It's just betting against what we've seen. It's still the same people, basically. It's just one less person. And because two, because Clay is out. But still, they retooled enough. I think they did well. Now, let's move on to Team USA just briefly, because it's always in the news. A bunch of people dropped out if you haven't been following. But the names of dropouts right here I have in front of me. Marvin Bagley.
Give you the full list.
I'll give you the whole class that was supposed to be in this. Marvin Bagley, Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, De'Aaron Fox, Eric Gordon, James Harden, Montrezl Harrell, Tobias Harris, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, CJ McCollum, Paul Millsap, JJ Redick, Julius Randle, PJ Tucker, and Trae Young. Some guys were out to injury, but most of them opted out.
It's tough. But did you listen to CJ McCollum on the Woj pod the other day or week?
Yes.
Yeah, he broke it down pretty well. It comes down to all that extra mileage. You know, he said if we all were participating in this, that's less work for everybody else because we'll be sharing it. You know, no one's going to have to put in a lot of that extra work. But as guys drop out, everyone else doesn't want to have to end up being that guy that has the high usage rate. And it messes with your summer routine. And then once the season rolls around, you run the risk of burning out way earlier than you're used to. So it's understandable that guys don't want to risk, burning out early January and then be totally dead by the time playoffs roll around, especially if you're on a team that is looking to make a deep playoff run.
Look, I believe CJ because I listened to his podcast and he's very well spoken. He said that he has decision made already, but other guys were announcing it first. I feel like when 2 or 3 people did it, then everyone else started to do it, and everybody used the same excuse. So that's from my optics. I just believe that it was. Of course, you do want to be healthy and all that. Like, that stuff does matter. Also, just a little bit, you're kind of following each other because somebody had a good idea and you decided to leave too. Like,
it was almost like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? I'm only doing it if you're going to do it.
Yeah. And some of the guys that left could benefit from playing on the Team USA roster around really good players every day, practice, exhibition games, regular games. They could use it. I love De'Aaron Fox. He could use it. I like Marvin Bagley. He could use it. Who else was on that list? Well, those are the first 2 off the top of my head. But they definitely could use it. That Landry Shamet dropped out. He said he was hurt, though. So that's understandable. But if he wasn't hurt, I hope he would have stayed. Like, there's a reason why Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown didn't drop out, because they're going to get a head start on all the NBA teams. They're getting their chemistry together right now, which is not good.
It's one way to look at it. But then if you want to look on the flip side of the coin, oh man, now they're going to be burning out early. But I don't think that's going to happen. That does make me nervous as a Sixers fan, that now they're going to get these extra reps together and build that extra chemistry before preseason even starts, before training camp even starts.
Exactly. That's just my point. It is beneficial, especially you're playing under Coach Popovich. You're playing under one of the greatest coaches of all time. I just see more benefits if you've been playing for less amount of time. Like, if it's only your 4th year in the league or fewer and you're on Team USA, you should be playing. That's just how I feel. CJ McCollum is more experienced. Anthony Davis, more experienced. James Harden, more experienced. Also did it before. Like, they've done it, learned, and they were younger. Now they're older, and the NBA season is their main focus. Of course it was at the time, but anything that you could pull to learn and apply it to playing in the NBA, they did. That's why I feel that's one of the reasons they were on Team USA when it was all said and done. But obviously it won't change anything.
Yeah, you could gain experience from it, but ultimately it's the player's decision. And if they just want to stick to their regular summer routine and just do what they always do, it's up to them. We can't criticize them for, choosing to just be on their own for the summer and do their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't, but you can. That's the thing. You can. Now let's move on to the NBA rookie survey. There's a whole. They do this every year. There's a whole survey, but we're just going to go through four polls that they have that were interesting to me. Rookie of the Year voting, 35% to Zion Williamson to winning. Ja Morant gets 27%. RJ Barrett, 5%. Cam Reddish, 5%. So, not really shocking there, except for, I guess, Cam Reddish at the end. I don't know how you feel about that.
It seems like a lot of the rookies are pretty high on Cam Reddish. We'll probably get to it later, but there's one poll that really stuck out to, wow, these guys really like him.
Yeah, we can get to it right now. Rookie that had the best career. Cam Reddish, 19%. Ja Morant, 16%. DeAndre Hunter, 11%. RJ Barrett, 5%. Jackson Hayes, 5%. Kobe White, 5%. Zion Williamson, 5%. I mean, it is interesting, but I don't think it's too far-fetched as a projection because of who he was compared to coming into the league, coming into the draft. He's been Paul George-esque. Paul George having a pretty damn good career. So, I mean, if that happens, then I could see it. But I do think out of this, I'll make a prediction for this because we didn't make a prediction for Rookie of the Year. But I do think Ja Morant is probably going to have the best career out of this list. At least finalists. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I'm high on John Morant. I love the idea of the Morant and Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. pairing. I think that's going to be awesome to see. Also, I don't want to mess this one up. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, and they got Brandon Clark, which was one of the best pickups in the draft this year. So that's going to be a team to look out for. But as far as who will have the best career, I want to lean towards Zion just because I'm all on the Zion hype train. But I'm going to just go with Zion. I'm going to go with the safe answer and go with Zion.
Not you two. Okay. Let's move on. I don't even want to. I'll wait and see what he does because I may be wrong. I may be singing a different tune in a couple months. Who knows? Best defender in the draft, 37% for our Sixer, Matisse Thybulle. Let's just sit and bask in the glow of one of our rookies being mentioned in this at the top. I'm happy about this. I'm glad we got Matisse. DeAndre Hunter, 29%. Brandon Clark, 8%. Jackson Hayes, 8%. Nasir Little, 8%. So you have, honestly, the best defender poll is a bunch of sleeper players. Besides, if Jackson Hayes probably didn't have that dunk, people really wouldn't care about him. So I'm going to stick to that, actually. This is the sleeper. All these guys are going to be good NBA players next year as rookies. I believe that.
Yes. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure this is the only poll that Matisse got votes for.
Well, yeah, it's his calling card.
Yeah.
Now, let's just go back to the rookie that had best career real quick. It's the 6th straight year a Duke player won that poll, right?
I'm not surprised.
I mean, it's kind of biased because, like, I don't know. It's just Duke is producing this talent, but they're not, like, you can't see it. You can only see it with one of them so far. Like, Jason Tatum, he was tied with Lonzo Ball in the 2 years ago poll. So technically, a UCLA guy won as well, but they say a Duke guy. I don't know. We just have to. It remains to be seen. It's interesting that Duke has won all these years. Is this just Duke players voting for Duke players? Who knows? Last poll that I want to talk about is the most important skill in today's game. Shooting is 32%, ball handling 16%, passing 9%, strength 7%, decision making, defense, everything, money management 5%. The one thing that stands out to me is that defense is last, and I think it should be, honestly, I think it should be third, because if you can't play defense, you're not going to see a lot of time. If you don't have an offensive skill, you have to be liable on defense, where it's such an offensive league. That's why that kind of threw me for a loop. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you obviously need to defend in this league. I think the one thing that I love about players in this league, in this sort of era in particular, I love the guy that defends multiple positions, at least competently, both on ball and off ball. Because if you could easily just get run off the court if you can't defend at least two or three different types of positions. We've seen him run so many different guys out of the league the past couple of years. But I'm definitely high on defense. I mean, shooting is the easiest answer to put, being that it's such a shooting league nowadays. But I'm really high on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I am too, because that's what our favorite team's calling card is going to be. But I just enjoy defense because all this shooting and all that type of fast offensive shit is fun from October to April. But then when it's April to June, basketball comes how it used to be played. Like, it's half-court offense, half-court defense. You have to execute. You can hand check a little bit. You can be physical. I don't know. It's just the way of the game now.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, you have anything to say to the people? Because that's about it. You want to do some plugs? You want to, I don't know, whatever you want to talk about. I'm giving you the floor here.
nothing really to plug right now. Working on a project or two that'll hopefully be out within the next couple days. I do head back up to the Bronx, Fordham, go Rams. Head back up tomorrow for another 8 months. My senior year, actually. This is almost it. This is my last dance up at Fordham. Looking forward to that. But give me a follow on Twitter at Joey D_6. The J and the D are capitalized. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's a pretty boring Instagram. You can follow me at Joey D_6. No capitals for that one though. And go read my stuff on Sixer Sense, and go read the homie Justin's stuff as well. And like you said earlier, we got a lot of stuff coming up when the season finally rolls around.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for listening again. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Rate it 5 stars. Review it. Follow it on Spotify. Like it. Follow on SoundCloud. Like, repost. Subscribe on YouTube. Justin DiVirgilio. Like it. Do the little thumbs up. Comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share it amongst your social platforms. You can follow me on Twitter at _J DiVirgilio. On Instagram, it's the same thing. The Outlet Pass Podcast on Instagram at The Outlet Pass Podcast. On Twitter at @pass_podcast. And this has been the Outlet Pass Podcast. The ball being our opinions, and we're passing it out to you. Peace.